So let's start ray optics. In this part, we will discuss different ideas of the refraction of light, laws of refraction that you already know. After that, principle of the reversibility of light. That means when light ray passes from one point to other point through some medium, that medium may be of different types, and there may be some slab or prism or anything in between that place. If the light ray passes in a certain path, if we keep the source was there and observer was there, like that, but if we interchange their position, then the light will traverse the opposite direction. That means this is the principle of the reversibility of light that we will discuss in depth, obviously. And also there are the possibilities how the reflection will occur in parallel slab or combinations of different slabs, that means compound slab. And also we will discuss about the apparent depth of a liquid. That means in a liquid, when we are observing from air medium, or we are inside the liquid and we are observing something above the water level. So those kinds of things will be discussed in the apparent depth of liquid topic. After that, total internal reflection, you know it very well in class 10s or 9s. After that, most important thing will come, that the refraction at spherical surfaces. And after that, sign convention, which is very much important also. Refraction at convex and concave surfaces, Lensmaker's formula, and the different definitions of lens like focus. After that, the lens equation and the linear magnification. So these kinds of things will be discussed today. Now let's start. What is refraction? Refraction is the phenomena of change in the path of light as it travels from one medium to another. Obviously, when the ray of the light is incident obliquely with respect to the normal to the surface, but if the incident is normal to the surface, then it will not change its direction. The change in path direction is only happens if the ray falls on the surface with a certain angle, with the normal, non-zero angle, obviously. So the refraction can also be defined as the phenomena of change in speed of light from one medium to another. You know that the velocity of light is c, which is basically 1 by root over mu 0 by epsilon 0. That means it depends on the medium also. So if we change the medium, the velocity of light will not remain constant. The velocity will be something else, depending on these kinds of values. So this phenomena, when a light ray enters another medium from a certain medium, then its velocity may change. This phenomena is related to that effect, or due to this kind of change in velocity is the is responsible for the refraction of light to occur. We will discuss it deeply in the wave optics, Huygens wave theory, and all those things are there. So for the timing, we have to be aware that these kinds of phenomena happens, that the speed of light changes depending on the medium. So the basic ideas, the basic definitions of the refraction. Suppose there are two mediums, rarer medium and a denser medium. This is a kind of slab. Some light ray falls on that surface at a certain point. So let us draw a normal to that surface. It should go on through this line, but it changes its direction depending on the medium, whether the second medium is denser than the first medium or rarer. It will come close to the normal either, or it will go away from the normal. It will happen depending on the comparison of the medium, first medium and the second medium. So here for the case, the first medium is a rarer one and the second one is denser. When the medium is denser, the light ray will come close to the normal. So the angle of refraction is less than the angle of incidence for this case. So this is the actual figure that we can draw from the case. So what are the laws of the refraction states? Is it visible now? So the laws of refraction, two laws are there. The incident ray, the normal to the refracting surface at the point of incidence, and the refracted ray all lie in the same plane. They are all in a certain plane. And for a given pair of media and for light of a given wavelength, fixed wavelength, the ratio of the sine of the angle of incident and the sine of the angle of refraction, that means sin I divided by sin R, is a constant for a particular set of medium. That is known as the Snell's law also, and that constant is known as the refractive index of the medium, refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So these are the two laws of refraction. The constant mu is called the refractive index of the medium, I is the angle of incidence, and R is the angle of refraction. Mu of the optically rarer medium is lower and that of the denser medium is higher. And the value of mu will come greater than 1 if the second medium is the denser one with respect to the rarer medium. And if we find out the refractive index of the rarer medium with respect to some denser medium, that it would come value less than 1. And we can choose the value of mu for the vacuum and also approximately for the air we can treat it to be 1. That means the no change of the velocity of light when it travels in a medium, vacuum or in air. And the velocity and the wavelength of light changes, but the frequency remains unchanged. We can express the refractive index of a medium with respect to some other medium to be the velocity in the first medium divided by velocity in the second medium of the light. And now we will discuss the principle of reversibility of light. That means light can travel in opposite direction. So this is the case. Some light ray is coming from rarer medium and going to the denser medium. Due to refraction, it changes its direction while entering to the denser medium. Now we have taken an mirror and we are placing that mirror in such a way that it will be at 90 degree to the direction of the refracted ray. So what is happening that these ray in the second medium, in the denser medium, is falling on the surface normally. So it will reflect back in normal direction. That means opposite to the incident direction. Now, when it will get refracted from the denser to the rarer, it will again go in the same direction. So this is basically the principle of the reversibility. That means it just changing its direction, but following the same path as it was following from coming from rarer to denser. And when it's going to rarer from denser, it's following just the same path, but in opposite direction. This is the principle of the reversibility. So here what is happening, you should try to understand that for the light ray coming from rarer to denser, the incident angle is I and the angle of refraction is R. So the refractive index of the second medium with the first medium will be sin I by sin R. Similarly, if we follow the opposite path, for that case, the R is the incident angle and I is the refraction angle of refraction. So for the medium A, the refractive index of medium A with respect to B is the sine of the incident angle divided by sine of the angle of refraction, because when the case is opposite, the angle will also interchange. That is why the refractive index of the first medium with respect to the second is this, and the refractive index of the second medium with respect to first one is this. So we can say that the product of these two will be 1, or these two things are reciprocal of each other. That means the refractive index of the first medium with respect to the second is reciprocal to that of the second medium with respect to the first. So if a ray of light, after suffering any number of reflections and or refractions, has its path reversed at any stage, it travels back to the source along the same path in the opposite direction. That is the principle of the reversibility that we are discussing right now. A natural consequence of the principle of reversibility is that the image and the object position can be interchanged. These positions are called the conjugate positions. Very important term, you have to remember. Now we will study the refraction through a parallel slab. What will happen when a light ray passes through just a parallel slab? So a parallel slab is placed in a medium, and that medium rarer, and the slab is denser. Let us consider. And the thickness of the denser medium is T, and the mu is the refraction angle, refractive index of the denser medium with respect to rarer medium. Now light ray is passing through this, and the dotted lines are drawn such that it should have been the ray of light if the parallel slab was not there. So what has been happened there? Finally refracted ray, see the finally refracted ray and the line which was supposed to be the direction of the propagation of the light, they are parallel to each other, but they have some deviations. So let us consider that amount of deviation is y. So here we are considering that for the first case of refraction, that means at that point angle of incidence is I1 and the angle of refraction is R1. And for the second point, the angle of incidence is I2 and the R2. Here the angle of incidence is at rarer medium and the angle of refraction is the denser medium. But in the second case, the angle of incidence is in the denser medium and the angle of refraction is the rarer medium. So that is why in the first refraction case, because it was going to a denser medium, the light ray come close to the normal. But when it approaches to the rarer medium, light ray goes away from the normal. So basically these two things, the amount it was close to this is now cancelled by the amount that much it goes away from that. So basically they are parallel to each other. So this is very easy thing, we can understand from the figure only, but we can prove also that these two angles will be same That means if I1, angle I1 and angle R1, R2 are same, then these two light rays, means this ray and the virtual line that we have drawn, they must be parallel to each other. So the angle of deviation in the first case is delta. So let us consider now some terms that we have already discussed or defined, the refractive index. So for the first case, the refractive index of the denser medium with respect to the rarer medium is this. And for the second point, this is sin I2 by R2, because this is I2 and this is R2. Angle of incidence divided by the angle of reflection. But we know that is it visible? So these angle R1 and these angle I2, they are equal to each other. So what will happen? R1 and I2 are equal. So sin R1 and sin I2, they are cancel each other. So sin I1 will be equal to sin R2. So that implies I1 will be R2. That means this angle and that angles are equal. So what happens? They are parallel to each other. That means the direction is remain unchanged, final direction. But there is a lateral shift. Y. Y is the amount of lateral shift. So we have to find out this value of Y. So how can we find this? So this triangle follow that. Let us suppose this is X. So from that triangle we can write X divided by T is equals to base by hypotenuse is cos. So this is 1 by cos R1. So in place of X we can write T by cos R1. Again, from that triangle, this one, Y divided by X will be perpendicular by hypotenuse equal to sine delta. So Y will be equals to X sine delta, that means T sine delta divided by cos R1. So this is the lateral shift that we are getting from that trigonometrical approach of the diagram that we have drawn following the definitions of the refractive index. So this is the final term so far that we have found for the lateral shift that is happening when refraction through a parallel slab is going on. Now delta is the angle of deviation, which is I1 minus R1. So we can put this here. So final form is like this. So there are a few special cases. If I1 is very small, then R1 is also very small. So we can write sin I1 minus R1 to be I1 minus R1 and cos R1 to be 1. So the deviation will come like this, T I1 minus R1. Also, we can write A mu B equals to I1 by R1, because if I1 and R1 are small, then sin R1 can be written as R1 and sin I1 can also be written as I1. So I1 by R1 is that thing. So if we take the I1 common, what we get 1 minus R1 by I1. So that is why it is written in that form. So there are different kinds of form maybe established. So you have to follow those kinds of equations and remember those equations. They are very easy to show. Now let us proceed for the refraction through a compound slab. There are two slabs there. This is a medium B, this is medium C, and that total two slabs are placed in a medium of named as A, which is the rarer medium. So what will happen? So there are basically three mediums, one having the refractive index mu A, another mu B, another mu C. So light ray passes like this, again goes through the medium, changes, so the direction also again changes, and finally it proceeds to the initial medium. And here also we have considered the refractive index of the third medium is greater than the second medium. That is why it also come close when goes from second to the third medium. So we can, by definitions, write these kinds of equations. And very easily we can say that R1, this is R1, this is R2, and this is also R2. So if we take the product of these three things, we get 1. Also from that we can say different kinds of forms can be written. These are the forms. Now let us proceed for the apparent depth of a liquid. Suppose there is a beaker and this is a water or something else liquid that must be denser than the air medium. Refractive index of the liquid is mu B and the rarer medium, that means air, is mu A. And suppose there is a point O at the bottom of the liquid. So when light ray goes from the denser to the rarer, it goes away from the normal. But someone who is seeing from that position will observe that the image to be at O prime position, because we cannot see light rays bend. We just follow the straight path that coming to our eyes. That is why we will observe that the image will be at this position. So this is the object position and the image position is that. So this is the apparent depth and that was the actual depth. So there is a change in depth. So this is the normal. HR is the real depth and HA is the apparent depth. So this was the angle of incidence. This was the angle of reflection. So that angle and that angle is equal. So this is also the angle of refraction. And also these angles, two angles are equal. So if it is I1 or I, it will be also I. And we know the definitions of the angle of refractive index, that the refractive index of the second medium with the first medium. Here the first medium is the water medium or the liquid medium. So B mu A equals to sin I divided by sin R. So this is very easy thing. Or also we can write when the B with respect to A, it will be sin R by sin I. Now what is sin I? If this is X, sin I will be X divided by this length. Suppose this is something, because this point and that point are very close to each other. We are drawing here that there is a very big gap, but they will be almost close to each other. So what will happen? This length and that length will be equal, and also this length and that length will be equal. So we can write base by hypotenuse, the length of the hypotenuse will be almost HR. And for the sin R case, it will be similar, that X by H. So if we take sin I by sin R, what happens? This becomes HA by HR. So this is mu A with respect to B. So B with respect to A will be HR divided by HA. So the apparent depth is equal to mu into HA. Mu of the medium where the point is located. The B medium with respect to A medium. So this is the equation for the apparent depth of a liquid. So what will be the apparent shift? That means that much amount shift is happening there. So this is just HR minus HA. So from those kinds of equation, we can write this. Now total internal reflection, you know very well. The total internal reflection is the phenomena of complete reflection of light back into the same medium for angles of incidence greater than the critical angle of that medium. And what is the critical angle? Critical is a certain angle and in which if the angle of incidence is equal to that critical angle, the angle of reflection will be 90 degree. So there is some denser medium and the rarer medium. If light ray falls normally on the surface, then it will follow the same path. It will not deviate. But at some other angles, it will deviate. So when deviates, as well as refraction, some reflection also happens. Every time it happens. Because this is the boundary of the two mediums. These boundary region act as semi-transparent. That means it can reflect as well as refract. But when we are changing its angle, you follow that the angle of refraction is increasing. At a certain angle, all the rays, few are reflecting and some are going along the boundary line. That angle is known as the angle, critical angle. But after that, when your angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, then there is no reflection. Here is reflection plus refraction. Refraction and reflection. Here is also refraction, reflection. Here is some lights are going along the line of boundary line, but few of them are refracted. But when the angle of incidence is greater than this critical angle, no light is getting refracted, total light is getting reflected only. That is why this kinds of phenomena is known as the total internal reflection. There is a condition for the total internal reflection. You are following that the light ray must go from denser to the rarer medium. And the angle of incidence in the denser medium must be greater than that the critical angle for the pair of medium in contact. Now we can find out a relation between the critical angle and the refractive index. Very easy thing. You know that for critical angle incidence, if the incident angle is critical angle, the angle of refraction is 90 degree. So we can put that mu equals to sine IC divided by sine 90 degree. That is the of the second medium with respect to first medium. Sine IC, sine 91. So we can write that first medium with respect to 7 is equal to 1 by sine IC. So this is the basically the relations between the critical angle and the refractive index. Also in the form of wavelength, we can write Sin IC equals to mu g by lambda g by lambda a. That means the wavelength of the glass with respect to the AR, if the slab is the glass slab. So from that we can say that the red color has a maximum value of critical angle and violet color has a minimum value of the critical angle. So there are few applications of total internal reflections like mirage formations, looming, totally reflecting prisms, optical fibers, sparkling of the diamonds happens due to these kinds of total internal reflections. So now we are proceeding for the spherical refracting surfaces. So basically what we have done so far is the refraction through either slabs, that means the plane surfaces, basically plane surfaces, how the refraction occurs. But now we will proceed for the spherical refracting surfaces. Previously done things like light ray plus passes through a slab. These kinds of things are very easy things, and it is almost similar to that we have what we have learned in class 10 or class 9. But now is the another thing, spherical refracting surfaces. The one thing you should remember that the laws of refraction and the laws of reflections are always applicable. It may be a plane surface or spherical reflecting surfaces. That doesn't make any sense. The laws remains the same. But due to the change of the curvature of the surface, the phenomena we observe give us different kinds of results. So a spherical reflecting surface is a part of a sphere of refracting material, like glass maybe. A refracting surface which is convex towards the rarer medium is called the convex refracting surface, and a refracting surface which is concave towards the rarer medium is called the concave refracting surfaces. So this is a rarer medium, denser medium, things like that. So this is a surface. We can think that this is a part of a sphere, and the center of that imaginary center of that sphere is known as the center of curvature. And the AB line drawn here is the may be treated as the axis. This is the center of curvature, and the distance of this, that means the radius of that imaginary sphere, is known as the this is the center of curvature, and that R is the radius of curvature. Actually, that's the thing. So in these two figures, APCB lines that we have drawn are known as the principal axis. C is the center of curvature, P is the pole, and R is the radius of curvature. Now few assumptions that we should note before try to do something with the spherical surfaces. First, the object is the point object lying on the principal axis that we have to choose for our general discussions, to simplified discussion basically. The incident and the refracted ray make small angles with the principal axis. They are almost parallel to the lines. The aperture, that means the diameter of the curved surface, is very small. And another thing which is very much important is known as the sign convention that we have to use. The incident rays are taken from left to right. This is the customary. All the distance are measured from the pole of the refracting surfaces. The distance measured along the direction of the incident ray taken positive and against the incident ray are taken negative. The vertical distances measured from the principal axis in upward directions are taken positive and in the downward direction are taken negative. You can remember this, it like coordinate system. Okay, upward directions are positive and downward directions are negative. These kinds of things. And the distance measured along the, so light ray is coming from that direction because we take the distance of traveling of the light ray from the left to the right. Incident ray is taken from left to the right. That is why this direction is positive. And if we measure some distance from here to that direction, that is the negative direction. So this is just similar to the normal coordinate system. In coordinate system, we take the sign convention in such a manner. In the new Cartesian sign convention for the refraction of lights through a spherical mirrors, refractions through the spherical surfaces follows the same kind of or similar kinds of sign convention. So this is very easy to remember if you can remember just the Cartesian coordinate systems. Now, refraction at convex surfaces, rarer medium to denser medium, and the real image is forming, suppose. So two mediums, the rarer medium having refractive index is mu1 and the denser medium has mu2. This is the center of curvature or the center of the refracting surface. O is the object. We are taking this to be a point object. The source is a point source, but it is not always the case. Light ray travels in that direction. When the light ray is going along the axis, it doesn't get deviated, because if we draw a normal here, this is the 90 degree, or with the normal it is making an angle 0 degree, so it would follow the same path and it will go straight along the axis. But for other things, the angle refraction will happen, so some deviation will occur. It should have been go along this, but when the medium changes, it alters its direction. So after some traveling, they meet at a certain point where the image got formed. So we have drawn here. First, we should draw a tangent. After that, normal to the tangent is this is the normal to the surface at that point of incidence. And you know, a sphere, if we draw at any point, any normal, it will be the radius. Because if we draw a radius at any point, we draw the tangent, they are the normal to each other at any point. So these are the basic axioms we know from mathematics. So the normal will reach the center of the curvature. So we can draw a normal from A to the axis, that is AM. This is the angle of incidence I, and this is the angle of refraction R. So let us choose two angles. This is alpha angle, this is beta angle, and also another angle gamma. From P to C, this is R. You know, we are following this direction, so R is positive. But this is negative direction. From P to O, this is the distance of object distance, U. U is negative. And from P to I is the image distance. This is V. This is again positive. Just Cartesian coordinate system. So basically, this is a diagram that may happen when a light ray passes from the rarer medium to the denser medium. That is why the refracted light ray is coming towards the normal. Otherwise, it should have been gone away from the normal, like that. So whatever, this is the diagram. So important thing to study the optics is to able to draw diagrams. Very carefully you should draw these kinds of things. So whatever, now from the figure, this is a triangle, not that, this one is a triangle. Let us copy that triangle. This kinds of triangle is there, and in that triangle, this is I, this is alpha, and this is gamma. So we can write I equals to alpha plus gamma. The external angle is equal to the sum of the two opposite internal angles. So this is what we can write. And also this gamma can be written as R plus beta similarly, or R equals to gamma minus beta. So I equals to alpha plus gamma and R equals to gamma minus beta. Now from that triangle, this AM divided by, or MA divided by MO will be tan alpha. Now let us remember one thing, what we have stated earlier. The incident and the refracted rays make small angles with the principal axis. So alpha and beta are very small. We have assumed that. This is not always true, but for our simplified calculations, we can choose that alpha, beta, gamma, they are very small. So as if alpha is very small, we can write tan alpha to be just alpha. And also tan beta from that triangle, tan beta equals to perpendicular divided by base. So MA divided by MI. And in place of beta, we can write beta only, tan beta. And what is tan gamma? Tan gamma equals to MA by MC. So these are just the triangle trigonometrical functions we are writing, and we are treating one assumptions, or that alpha, beta, gamma are very small. And we know if theta is very small, we can write tan theta to be theta. So just these things, and applying on the diagram, we found these things of about alpha, beta, and gamma. Now, according to the Snell's law, we know that the sin I divided by sin r equals to the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. Also, we can write these like mu2 with respect to 1. So again, sin theta becomes theta when theta is very small. That is why I, R, they are always, all are very small by the assumption. So we can write I by R equals to mu2 by mu1. So cross multiplication gives us this, and also previously we have noted I equals to that and R equals to that. We can replace those kinds of things, and after doing some calculations, we find that this comes to be like this: mu1 by PO, mu2 by PI, mu2 minus mu1 equal divided by PC. So if we choose those kinds of measurements, PO will be equals to minus U because it is opposite to the, or if you just try the coordinate system, that distance is negative distance, that distance are positive distances. So R and V are all positives, and this is negative. MA is positive, obviously. So putting those kinds of values, we find the equation which gives us that form. This is very important equation. Now, the equation that we got here is of that form. Here is the object very close to the surface. The previous case, the image formed was a real one. You just follow. This is object, two light rays going. After refraction, they are meeting at a certain point. That is a real image. The object is comparatively at a far distance from the pole. But in this case, the object placed is very near to the pole. And from those cases, after the refraction happens, the primary two rays are there. One ray is going straight, another after refraction going this direction. So these two rays will never meet. So from any person here or observing from here will observe that it is coming from certain point. So this is the image, but it is not a real image because the light ray are actually not meeting at that point. These two light rays are just diverging from that point, appears to us. So this is then virtual image is getting formed. So in a in refraction at convex surface or concave surface, whatever, there is a possibility that the image will be virtual or real. So in these two cases, the equations comes to be like this. And the refraction at concave surfaces, always a virtual image will form, and from those cases, the equations becomes this. So you can follow the form of the equation is independent of the fact of what will be the nature of the image or what is the nature of the surface. The same kind of similar equation is coming. This is also written. This is the convention to write v first, mu2 by v minus mu1 by u equals to mu2 minus mu1 divided by r. This is the real form of the equation. So, but one important thing should remember, if the object is in rarer medium, then the equation takes these kinds of form, mu1 by minus u. But the object in the denser medium, then mu2 by minus u, and here mu1 minus mu2. Okay, but when the object in rarer medium, the expression is same for whether it is real or virtual image or convex or concave surfaces. And also it's true for the object in the denser medium. But in the rarer medium equation and the denser medium equation, they are just different. But you should not bother about those things. You just try to remember that mu2 by v minus mu1 by u equals to mu2 minus mu1 by r. Now, what we have to remember, that refractive index of the object medium, that means the where the object is placed, is mu1. If the refractive index of the medium was mu2, then we have to write mu2 by u. That means this equation, just remember that equation. This is true for everyone. But you have to consider the object is in the medium having refractive index mu1, and the image will be formed it is possible that it will be anywhere. But is just to remember the medium, the refractive index of the medium where the object is placed. That is just important, nothing else. So you can remember this way either or that way. I think this is the best to remember, because otherwise there will be some confusion